Everybody on the internet is talking about the whole Logan Paul thing. And while I do want to mention some points on this whole decision that Logan Paul made with putting this video up, there are a couple of things that I would like to mention that I have seen as of lately with these YouTubers that are going to Japan and all these other places. So if you aren't aware of what happened with Logan Paul as of recently, Logan Paul's apparently in Japan, and he ended up going to the Japanese suicide forest that is located at the base of Mount Fuji, which is also known as the Okihara Forest, which in America is dubbed as the Suicide Forest. This forest is definitely not a tourist attraction, yet there is a lot of fascination that comes to this place due to morbid circumstances because a lot of people end up going there to take their own lives. And unfortunately, Japan is known for this. Between the amount of work and stress that is shown in the Japanese workforce, suicide is actually a very common thing over there. And the forest is usually known for the people that walk in don't really intend to walk out. And as sick and as morbid as it may be, I do understand a fascination with it. But how Logan Paul decided to display not only the forest and location as a whole as some type of joke, but then to actually encounter a deceased body, a body of somebody that had a family probably, that had friends, that had loved ones, and had their body mocked at, is absolutely distasteful and disgusting. And not only mocking the body, but showing the body as well. And then having these cutaway sections as like, I don't know, like light humor, or I don't, it's such a fucking disturbing video. But my anger is not only towards Logan Paul, but it's towards whoever the hell was in the forest with him. I don't know if you noticed within that video, there's a guy that's next to him, and I think he actually even PewDiePie had magnified this, but there's a guy, when they found the body, he said, hey, let's take the camera over, or something like that, like, to zoom in and to look at the body even further. Like, how sick do you have to be to film, I mean, not only a deceased body, but someone whom died because of probably their own mental turmoil is absolutely disgusting and distasteful. And I've seen so many videos say the same thing, but everyone will keep saying the same thing, and it's probably not going to die for a while or ever, and it's disgusting. And what really gets me is he's trying to, like, label it as this whole mistake and, like, oh, that fame and views or whatever the fuck got to him. A mistake is, yeah, like, I don't know. I wouldn't film in this forest anyway, but even if I was filming and that body came up on screen, yeah, that mistake is me filming it and then editing it out of the vlog once I reviewed it and not using it as a clickbait for your fucking video. That's a mistake. You had a team of people that were with you in a forest, and no one said, that might be kind of a really fucking morbid and sick idea to maybe film a body that, even in the video they said, wow, he must have died this morning. Yeah, someone that had just recently passed. I don't get it. As you can see, this video still riles me up, but what I really wanted to talk about in this video also has to do with a bunch of YouTube stars actually going to certain places like Japan. I've even seen Thailand and China, and really not giving the proper respect to the culture that are in these countries. Because aside from America or England or whatever, I'm just thinking of these YouTubers that I've gone and I've actually kind of cringed at their vlogs or their posts after the trip or whatever. I'm going to get into one in particular. And I don't really want to pair them so much with this video, because this video is absolutely disgusting, morally fucking disgusting. But I want to bring the point of addressing culture and having respect for a culture that is different from yours and knowing some of the obvious do's and don'ts. I'm going to be talking about Japan a lot in this video because a lot of the YouTubers that I know have just gone to Japan, and I'm a bit more familiar with it as well because I've also been invested in learning about Japanese culture since I was a kid. So in comparison to China and Thailand, I know a little bit more about Japan than the two other countries I had mentioned, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be mentioning them as well in this video, just not as much as probably Japan. A lot of what Japanese culture seems to stand on is humbleness and gratitude. A lot of what these YouTubers, I think, really need to understand. And that's a lot of the irony that I see about these particular YouTubers going to Japan and not really appreciating the culture as a whole. And I want to clarify in saying foreign YouTubers, meaning the YouTubers that are visiting Japan, meaning that they're not from Japan. And what I tend to find interestingly enough about these supposedly big YouTubers that are going to Japan is that they have two different spectrums when it comes to really advertising this culture. They either have zero respect for it at all, aka Logan Paul, or they put it on some type of pedestal to the point where it almost seems like they're fetishizing it. The fetish thing is kind of hard to determine because sometimes you don't know if it's satire or them doing it out of irony or actually them being serious and glorifying it. This one example can be seen from a YouTuber known as Simply Kenna. I did used to watch Simply Kenna's videos, but it was more out of a fascination. I used to like her editing, but when her personality came on screen, there was just something that didn't seem completely genuine, and I was kind of fascinated by it, and I did watch it. When the plagiarism thing happened, it was kind of a ticking time bomb for me because I saw it way really before there was any real drama about it. But that's a whole story entirely. So Simply Kenna went to Japan some time ago, a couple of months ago, I don't really remember when. And on her Insta story, and a couple of her Instagram posts and comments, she had mentioned about coming back into America and being pretty disgusted with what American culture is as opposed to Japanese culture. And I quote from her Insta story, 2 minutes back in America and I'm already shook by how rude Americans are and how shit our customer service is. SOS. Now, as of right now, I have never been to Japan. I would love to go, but I have still never been there. And if I were to go, there are a couple of places that I would like to go that are, I guess, what you would consider as the tourist traps. But aside from the tourist traps, the very few that I would visit are nothing compared to the other places that I would love to go to experience the culture that Japan has to offer. Now, you can't really go by what a YouTuber shows you, as in the end-all footage of what they did, but watching Simply Kenna's vlogs from Japan made me realize that all she went to were basically the tourist traps within Tokyo. I understand that you can't really invest yourself in a culture within a week that you're there, but a lot of the footage that she had shown was a lot of the touristy areas that you tend to see in every single vlog. There's nothing really too much different. And I don't know, Tokyo Disney would not be the first thing on my list to go check out when I go to Japan, but hey, you know what, that's your own taste. If I had the opportunity to go, I would, but it's definitely not on my checklist with immersing myself within a culture because I can go to Disney here in America. What I'm basically saying about Kenna's statement is that it's pretty ignorant to assume of how pretty a culture is just by only experiencing the quote-unquote pretty side of it that you see in potential tourist traps that are meant to entice people. Especially when you look at people like Logan Paul going in these places where unfortunately some of the darkest parts of Japanese history and their current parts of culture that are still taking place, unfortunately. Every single culture has their pretty side and their ugly side. There is no perfect culture, there is no perfect person, there is no perfect place. It is good to have a middle ground. And that's also what I want to talk about in this video too. There are a couple of vloggers that I would like to mention within this video that I think are completely respectful while visiting Japan and that make me want to go even more every time I watch them. There is this one YouTuber named Audra Eclair. Audra Eclair is a very talented visual artist that went to Japan about a year or so ago, and her Japanese vlogs are absolutely flawless and amazing. Just like her art, because she is also a visual artist. I know she spent some time in Japan. It has been a long time since I've seen the vlogs, but this one particular moment really struck me as genuine. And I hope she doesn't mind me bringing light to it, but this is where it just felt so raw and genuine. There was at one point where they were walking through, again, I'm not sure if it was, I don't know if it was in Kyoto or something. I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember the town or whatever space that they were in, but she was walking behind someone with a kimono on, with a geisha attire, and she basically broke down in tears. She was getting emotional because she said when she was younger, she was really into the geisha style, and seeing somebody personally in that attire on, in a place that she always dreamed about going, it made her get so emotional and cry, and I don't know. That, for whatever reason, like, really drove home with how personal and humbling the experience was for her, and it made me want to go even more. I don't really remember what video it was, and I don't really want to highlight it because I don't know if it's going to be embarrassing for her or whatever, but I know it was in one of her vlogs, and that is kind of just what sold me on. I mean, I love her stuff in general, but it really sold me on how much this trip had obviously impacted her. This next YouTube channel, or YouTubers, I'm really sad about talking about because they had actually left YouTube about a year ago, and the YouTube channel is called Texan in Tokyo, and it was centered around this couple that I actually met in Texas. The guy, I think Ryosuke, he came from Japan and went to school in Texas where he met his wife Grace, and they got married and they moved to Japan, and they basically vlogged their life in Japan. And what was really great was that they had vlogs going on, but while they were doing personal things, like personal everyday life things, they still gave in their insight to how different actually the culture is, just by their routines, and gave their 2 cents on the differences between American and Japanese culture. And they, I think, quit last year on YouTube because they were thinking about starting a family. And their reason behind it, I'm not going to go into it because it's a long explanation, but I think their reasoning is absolutely wonderful, and it shows how respectful that they are as people. And aside from buying Grace's book and maybe possibly watching their videos, I think that's another way that you can support them. But if there was any way to really support them, I would love to do it. And for anyone who's interested in their videos as well as Audra Claire's videos, I will leave them in the link down below because I do think that they're very humbling and, you know, something to really think about with foreign YouTube stars. I mean, I guess Texan in Tokyo is not really foreign, but at the same time, it is because it shows the different things. I don't know. I would consider it another YouTube channel to check out. And there's probably other ones that I'm not naming, but I know that a lot of the attention is more on the drama side of YouTube than it is with these simple videos and whatever. Like, people remember the drama more than they remember whatever, but I do think that especially when it comes to different cultures such as Japanese culture and anything else, that if it's not your own, there should be some type of respect for it. And I'm saying with any general culture, it's vice versa and give or take. There should be respect from all different sides of any foreign country that you visit to anybody. So obviously, circling back to Logan Paul, I really hope that he learns from this, as well as any person that intends on going to a country with not laying down a certain respect to the culture and how different it is probably from their own. And with culture, I mean people, I mean places, I mean the country as a whole. I think Logan is definitely going to learn his lesson. And I think that a lot of YouTubers probably are going to hopefully take from this really unfortunate experience and learn to better themselves and their content, or what they decide to post online and whatever. So Logan, what you did was a real shit thing, but I hope you do learn from it. I kind of hope you don't bounce back just because of how shit this situation came about, and how pretty much you used that this shit situation was because of how clouded you were with your popularity and views. But I do hope that you take the situation and really humble yourself and get help, as well as your brother Jake. So I wish the best for you guys, but I more so hope that whomever you found in the forest is at peace now. I hope that their family recovers from this, because I'm sure that it's probably going to be very traumatizing for them. Just gotta be better people, man. I don't know what else to say. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this video. Thanks for listening.